Right now at 6, remembering a life cut short as an 18-year-old suspect turns himself in.
She loved people. Most importantly, she loved kids.
Plus, a man with a history of stalking, arson, and making threats was back in court. How one woman spoke out today to keep him locked up.
As you know, 2 of the women who had stalking orders against him ended up with Molotov cocktails in their front yard.
Then it's the Oaks Park ride that left people dangling upside down. Who's now taking action against the maker of the atmosphere?
And more clarity on the trade-offs when it comes to a new I-5 bridge over the Columbia.
The impacts to businesses and people is real to us as it is to them.
Thanks for joining us. I'm David Molko.
And I'm Christine Pitawanich. An 18-year-old accused of shooting and killing a woman in Southeast Portland has turned himself in. The shooting happened on Tuesday near Southeast 136th and Knight Street. Police told people living in that area to stay inside their homes while they looked for the person responsible. Kamari Gates turned himself into police yesterday and was in court this afternoon, where he pleaded not guilty to several charges.
Let's bring in Sydney Dorner live downtown outside PPB headquarters. Sydney, you've been talking with the victim's family. We should mention some of the details here are disturbing.
Yes, LaToya Hill's family says they are still trying to wrap their minds around what happened to their loved one. Her fiance explained how the suspect, Kamari Gates, actually has a brother who once lived with the couple. Hill's fiance, Danielle McGruder, says she was home when she says LaToya was shot in the back of the head right in front of the couple's home off Southeast 136th Avenue in Portland. Danielle says once she thought Gates was gone, she rushed to her fiance and called the police. Hill was rushed to OHSU for treatment but died Tuesday afternoon, crushing her mother and father who had just spent time with her, enjoying a football game and barbecue days before. The family wants Hill to be remembered as loving, free-spirited, and a phenomenal basketball player who loved mentoring kids.
I just applied pressure and I told her to just keep moving her mouth so I know she's here, not to leave me, not to leave us, and that we love her. And I kissed her.
She played basketball and a lot of people got to know her through that and just loved everybody and loved life. It's just a shame that what happened to her.
LaToya's family has opened up a GoFundMe to help them get through this tough time, which is linked on our website at kgw.com. Next Saturday, they are inviting the public to celebrate her life with a going away ceremony at Peninsula Park. Back to you.
Sydney Dorner reporting downtown this evening. Thank you, Sydney. In your headlines, tonight's home football game at Rex Putnam High in Milwaukee has been canceled. That's after a threat, a message a student found written in a restroom, the district says prompted a lockdown this afternoon. The Clackamas County Sheriff's Office says that threat turned out to be not credible. Students were released at the usual time, though in smaller groups. Sports practices were also canceled.
Police have arrested a suspect they say shot and killed another man on an East Portland Max platform. Police say the shooting was around 7:30 Thursday evening at the 148th and Burnside stop in the Hazelwood neighborhood. 42-year-old Felix Juarez Perez is charged with murder and unlawful use of a weapon. The victim died at the scene. His name has not yet been released.
Meanwhile, Portland police have released the name of a man who was killed in Old Town. 21-year-old Malik Wilkerson was shot early in the morning a little over 2 weeks ago near Southwest 3rd and Ankeny. He later died at the hospital. No arrests have been made.
And 2 people accused of drug trafficking in our region are now in custody, along with 11,000 fentanyl pills. Investigators say Martin Rangel frequently traveled between Washington and California to bring back fentanyl. The investigation started last year in Clark County when detectives say they found evidence of drugs at his home. After an arrest and a release, investigators then got a tip Rangel was still dealing fentanyl. They arrested him and his girlfriend this week in Central Oregon. Both face drug trafficking charges.
And Oaks Amusement Park is now suing the manufacturer of its Atmosphere ride for a malfunction that made global headlines. In June, about 30 people, many of them kids and teens, got stuck upside down some 10 stories up for about 25 minutes. The lawsuit accusing the Italian company that built and installed the ride, Zamperla, of negligence. Riders' families have filed lawsuits against Oaks Park. One is seeking $125,000 in damages, alleging their daughter now suffers from post-traumatic stress and anxiety. The atmosphere is still operating, but now does not go fully upside down. Matt?
All right, David, thanks very much. What a beautiful day we had, and we've got a great weekend, too. This is looking south from our camera at Timberline Lodge in the Mount Hood National Forest. It has cooled off a bit from yesterday. We're in the 40s, whereas yesterday we were in the 50s, but we warm back up this weekend. So if you want to go for a late summer hike, and it doesn't get any later than tomorrow because fall begins on Sunday, you're in good shape. We still have west winds coming in through the gorge, gusting 31 miles an hour over in the Dow, so still pretty strong onshore flow. That'll change next week, and we're going to see a pretty big warm-up. Before that, we change seasons early on Sunday morning at 5:43 a.m. to be exact is when the sun will be directly over the equator, and that is when the equinox happens. So with that, the sun will rise due east, set due west, and the sunset times aren't in daytime, nighttime aren't exactly the same because the atmosphere refracts the time of sunrise and sunset, changes that a little bit, but that's where we are on Sunday morning as we change seasons, right? So sunny, warm weekend on the way. Even though the seasons change, the weather will be remarkably consistent. And then we get a hot day next week. We'll show you how hot and which day in a bit, guys.
Okay, thank you, Matt. Now at 6, a Portland man previously convicted of stalking, arson, and even threatening the president was back in court today. One woman who says she was stalked testified, hoping to keep him behind bars.
John Adams was in the courtroom and joins us in the newsroom. John?
David and Christine, Jesse David Bennett admitted to making online threats to celebrities and people he worked with, saying he would carry out mass shootings. He also threatened to assassinate President Biden. A judge today decided the incidents violated his parole and ordered him to more prison time.
Jesse David Bennett sat before a judge in a Multnomah County courtroom on Friday after admitting to violating his parole from a 2019 conviction. The state argued that threats Bennett made in 2022 and 2023, including some against President Biden, should extend his time in prison.
Mr. Bennett targeted a lot of people. Some people that he had met in person at a gym where he was working, some people that he knew from his neighborhood. He also targeted public figures and made a lot of online threats.
One of those individuals Bennett targeted was Heather Zeiser, who had hired him as a handyman.
Jesse and we befriended each other years ago. During that time, he manipulated me by gaining my trust and ultimately betraying me in a way I never thought possible. Since April of 2022, I have lived in fear for my life, the lives of my friends, family members, coworkers, and partner.
Zeiser says Bennett threatened to kill her and her loved ones while using burner phones to pose as an anonymous love interest.
I know what's going to happen as soon as he gets out of jail. I will have to sell my house, leave my job of 17 years that I love with patients that I've built lasting relationships with, and I'll have to leave a community that I love.
Bennett was previously convicted by the state of Oregon on arson and bias crime charges for throwing Molotov cocktails into the yards of 2 neighbors in northeast Portland. The judge ruled that Bennett will spend an additional 2 years in prison with the possibility of early release after at least 1 year of that sentence.
Bennett will live in a halfway house when he is released and will have to wear an electronic monitoring device. David?
John Adams in the newsroom. Thanks, John. Appreciate your reporting. Well, to an update now on the new Interstate Bridge project this evening, with planners releasing what is called an environmental impact statement.
Yeah, Devin Haskins is live in Vancouver for us this evening. Devin, this is a milestone for the project, so walk us through it.
Yeah, so the study is just one of those necessary processes that planners have to go through to get this bridge replaced. Today, they told us about how traffic times and congestion, would be improving, but also that homes and businesses could be impacted and forced to move. The study taking a look at what would be impacted by either building a bridge or leaving the current one up for the next 20 years. The new bridge would either be a fixed deck or a drawbridge like what's currently there, the design still yet to be determined. Planners today say that the new bridge would lead to faster commutes and lower congestion compared to the current bridge staying put. Light rail would also extend into Vancouver, and throughout the entire project zone, 7 interchanges would be modified. One of the biggest impacts, though, would be the 43 homes and 36 businesses getting displaced.
The impacts to businesses and people is real to us as it is to them. And so we are taking every step to avoid and minimize those. And that's what this is, one of those steps is documenting those impacts in the project that we're studying.
You have until November 18th to voice your concerns about this. You can head to KGW.com for more information on this. And also stick around for the story at 6:30. They're going to dive a little bit more into this and have more information. Back to you.
Devin Haskins along the Columbia this evening. Thank you, Devin. Hey, we have a couple traffic alerts now, beginning with the Hawthorne Bridge will be closed for a second straight weekend for maintenance work and paving. That means no cars, no bikes or foot traffic from 6 a.m. tomorrow through 6 in the evening on Sunday.
And on the Oregon coast, Highway 101 will be closed this weekend between Manzanita and Cannon Beach. Late last month, you might recall, a section of the Nacarni Creek Bridge near Oswald West State Park collapsed, taking with it a concrete railing and sidewalk. Crews need to close the road to finish removing the concrete that's hanging from the bridge. The closure begins at 7 a.m. tomorrow and goes through 7 p.m. Sunday. Expect detours on highways 26 and 53.
Well, straight ahead on KGW News at 6, how Oregon has secured a new boost to help people struggling with their mental health.
And some 30,000 Boeing workers still on strike. Why another union at the company is getting pulled into the headlines.